island to the port of Athenios, the commercial port of the island. Normally, it's used by the ferry boats. From the port of Athenios, we will drive to the village of Ia. That's the one you see in front of us, in the far end of the island, in the beginning of the island. The most beautiful of the villages on the island of Santorini, the village with the cave houses and the beautiful churches. I think this is the best time to introduce you Prokopis, our bus driver, an excellent bus driver, you will soon find out. You will also find out that driving is not easy on this island, but don't worry, relax, enjoy the beautiful view, because Prokopis is one of the very best drivers we have on the island, and I really mean that. My name is Katie, and I will be your guide for today. On behalf of Prokopis and myself, I wish you a very pleasant time. Ladies and gentlemen, join me, have a look on the right to show you all the different volcanic islands. Let me start with a story from the very beginning. Santorini's geological history goes back millions of years ago, when what we call today Aegean Sea, the sea between the Greek mainland and Asia Minor, was a dry land. It was connected to the Greek mainland with the island of Crete south and Asia Minor on the east. You may know already that here in Greece and very close to the island of Santorini, here is the meeting point of two different tectonic plates of the Earth's crust. Plates are moving. Every time they're moving, we have an earthquake or a volcanic eruption. After a longer series of geological upheavals, Aegean sunk. This happened 2 million years ago. Only the high peaks of the lost continent remained above the surface of the water. They created the Aegean Islands, and of course that means that all the today islands of the Aegean Sea, all of them once upon a time were the high peaks of the lost continent of Aegeus. During that same time, I'm talking to you about 2 million years ago, on the same area where is Santorini today, here existed only 3 tiny islands, non-volcanic islands, remains from the lost continent of Aegeus. The 3 islands, little by little after the different volcanic eruptions, and because of the volcanic materials, they were joined into a bigger island, circular in shape. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make Santorini a round island as it was thousands of years ago. We must connect the village of Ia, the village in front of us in the far end of the island. We must connect it with the big inhabited island of Thiracia, the one with the white house at the top. Join Thiracia Island with the tiny round island, the white island Aspronisi. If you will do that, if you will join the 3 islands, the main island of Santorini, with the 2 islands you see on the right, the biggest one, Thiracia, and the tiny one, Aspronisi, you will have a bigger island, circular in shape. In the middle of the round island, and that means next to us on the right, where is the water today, there was a huge crater, 1,000 meters high, 3,000 feet high. During the great volcanic eruption around 1640 before Christ, the crater collapsed. With the crater, all the central part of the round island, more than the half of the island, disappeared under the sea, under the waves. 83 square kilometers of solid ground collapsed, where the second largest caldera all over the world was created. Caldera is a Spanish-Italian word. It's a volcanological term. We call caldera the Gulf the Bay is next to us on the right. We call caldera the Gulf the Bay, which was created when the real crater of the volcano collapsed. Caldera is the Gulf the Bay among the 3 islands, the main island of Santorini, the inhabited island of Thiracia, and the tiny island of Aspronisi. Have a look all around us to see the walls of the caldera with the different layers. Different layers are different volcanic eruptions. The walls of the caldera is a museum for the geologists and for the volcanologists. They can study there all the different volcanic eruptions, starting from the first one down at the bottom till the very last one at the top of the hill. Volcano is quiet, still active. The two black islands you see next to us on the right now, these are young islands. They were created much later. The biggest of the two black islands, the island the nearest to us, that's the island of Neakameni, and that's the today volcano. On the island of Neakameni exist 6 small craters. The one at the top is quiet, still active. The last volcanic eruption was in 1950. The smaller of the two black islands, that is Paleakameni, the older burnt island, which was erected from the bottom of the sea 197 before Christ. There are the hot springs where our guests they go for swimming. Paleakameni Island, the today volcano, is the youngest island all over the Mediterranean Sea. It was created the last 450 years after the different volcanic eruptions. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the biggest and the main crater, the real crater of the volcano of Santorini, is the Big Alpha, the Big Bay, where is your boat, your cruise boat now. And of course that means, in other words, that your cruise boat is inside of the crater of the volcano, which is quiet but still active. How do you feel about it? Volcanologists, they come very often and they study the volcano, so we'll know when is going to be the next volcanic eruption. We will know that months before, and according to them, that will happen after hundreds of years. So we don't have to worry about the volcano of Santorini at the moment. Maybe you're confused with the date of the great volcanic eruption, especially if you've read any of the books concerning the island of Santorini. But most probably you know that that happened around 1450 before Christ. I'm talking to you about 1640 BC, 200 years earlier. It's the same volcanic eruption. The difference is that I'm talking to you about the new theory, which says that the volcano erupted 200 years earlier, 1640 before Christ. It is really very interesting where they found the proofs for the new theory. Not in Santorini. Proofs were found far away, in California, in Ireland and in Greenland, so far away, which means that it was a terrible volcanic eruption which has affected even the climate of the countries I have mentioned before. It's not important to remember what was the great volcanic eruption. 200 years earlier or later doesn't make any difference. It's important to remember how terrible it was. Keep in mind that more than the half of the island of Santorini disappeared under the water when one of the biggest calderas all over the water was created. The round island was divided to 3 islands. The main island of Santorini was buried under 60-70 meters of pumice and volcanic ash and remained uninhabited for more than 300 years. The greatest civilization which flourished on this island 4,000 years ago came to the end. A huge tidal wave, a big tsunami, 250 meters high, 750 feet high, rushed towards the island of Crete at a speed of 350 kilometers per hour. It took less than half an hour to reach the island of Crete. According to the volcanologists, it was one of the worst volcanic eruptions all over the world in all the historical times, the last 20,000 years. Enough about the volcano. A little bit later I will let you know how people came back to the island after the great volcanic eruption when Santorini remained uninhabited for more than 300 years. At the moment I would like to show you all these grape vines you see all over the area. The green plants on the right and on the left, everywhere around these are grape vines. Have a careful look to see how different is the way to cultivate them. In all the other places, all over Greece, all over Europe, all over the world, they cultivate them going up to 1.5 meter high. Not here, not in Santorini. Here we keep them low, near the ground. As you see, they touch the ground. Every year we cut some special branches. We do that twice a year. We leave only 3, maybe 4 branches of the plant, the strongest ones. These 3, 4 branches, we turn them around and round. We wave them, we twist them, so that the whole plant takes the form of the basket. Grapes are growing inside the baskets to protect them from the very strong winds. You cannot see the baskets this time of the year because now the plants are full with leaves, but those of our guests who are visiting Santorini in the beginning or in the end of the season, when grape vines have no leaves, our guests have a strange feeling that we cultivate the baskets everywhere around. There are only 2 places all over the world where they cultivate the grapevines in the shape of the basket. Santorini and Lanzarote, one of the Canarian islands, which is also a volcanic island. On the right hand side you see the village Messaria, and behind it, down near the sea level, if you have a careful look, you will see the airport of the island. Messaria is the geographical center of the island. The name comes from the Greek word messi. Messi means middle, Messaria means in the middle of the island. Concerning the airport, it's international. It was constructed in 1971. According to statistics, during the summertime, we have 65 domestic flights per week, connecting Santorini with other Greek islands and with the Greek mainland Athens. We receive about 85 charter flights per week, connecting Santorini with other European countries. If you will add a lot of cruise boats daily and a lot of ferry boats every day, bringing us guests from all over the world, then you can easily imagine that the main income of the island comes from tourism. It's true that before the tourism started, the life here was very difficult. It is still difficult in a way for some people. Working 6-7 months every year is not enough to save money for the whole year around. Today the economy of the island is based on tourism, but 1.5 centuries ago it was based on the exportation of the pumice stones. Next to us on the left there is one of the 5 pumice quarries you have on the island. Have a look on the left to see that a big part of the hill is missing. It was completely destroyed because of the exportation of the pumice stones. Pumice or pumice is a porous, very light volcanic material. We used to export 2 million tons of pumice per year. Pumice was used in the cement industry. In 1866, when they constructed the Suez Canal, they came on the island of Santorini. They made the quarries that took pumice stones in order to insulate the Suez Canal, because pumice was a very good material for underwater constructions. We don't export pumice anymore. It is not allowed by strict law, and you can easily imagine the reason why not. 2 million tons of pumice per year means that in a few years we could have destroyed the whole island and exported as pumice stones. We have just arrived in Fira, the capital of the island. We will drive through the capital on our way to the village of Ia.